What's up, guys? So I'm going to be going in depth on how I did over $4,956.93 in the first product test that I did with a personal brand influencer. So yeah, I'm just going to dive right into it. I'm just going to go to my notes that I have here. So I'm just going to go step by step with it, kind of tell you guys how I did everything. I took a saturated product that was saturated, through meme pages, also through Facebook ads, and I took it to a European personal brand influencer who charges under her value. And if you guys watch my last video, you guys will know that I talk a lot about finding people who charge under what they're valued at. So this is like a girl who matched that criteria, and I'll go in depth on like how I went about actually paying her. So like I had like mainly two choices. I either had the choice where I could pay her $800, and she would just simply show the website, talk a little bit about the offer, kind of that kind of thing, or I could pay her 1,000 her currency, which would be 1.2k USD, and have her show the product and how it works and all that, and actually genuinely recommend it to her audience. And so instead of going for the cheaper option, I actually spent $400 more than what they wanted. So I was able to get a better ad. So pretty much like I paid that money so I could get like a genuine recommendation, and like her audience sees her with the product, and she's like genuinely like recommending it, and then she connects it to an actionable offer, with her, telling them to swipe up, use her discount code, etc., which I'll go more in depth to, and more into this video. And if you're someone, I'm just going to mention this now, if you're somebody who already has a winning product with an influencer, this is really important stuff to know. And if you're someone who's just starting out, it's also good to know. But I just wanted to point that out, you as well. And so I'm not going to go over exactly like the exact things she said, obviously, because that would give away the product. But I'll give you a pretty good idea of like how I structured the ad. So, like before she posted the ad, she posted a couple, just a couple content bits, her just talking about whatever's going on in her life, showing like her dogs or whatever, just like normal content stuff, keeping people engaged. And then she obviously, have like a couple minutes, probably like 15, 20 minutes after she posted that, she posted the ad, and if you guys are wondering, she actually pre-recorded it, which I may try to make it seem like it's live, but it is pre-recorded, so I can obviously approve of it because she doesn't do these kind of promotions a lot, so it's not someone who's say more used to it. So I have a pre-recorded just so I can obviously, accept, make sure it's actually good and all that. But actually was the first time around. So yeah, I mean, like the first two slides were basically like a selfie video of her, basically talking about the offer. I mean, you guys can read it. I'll just read it out loud though. She basically said, she heard of the product and that it could really solve a problem of hers that she actually has, and decided, and she basically said she decided to get one from the brand, and that the product was just so good she decided to partner up with my brand, and so we could also solve the same problem that she had for possibly other people in her audience who ran into the same problem. That's pretty much the beginning, like one or two slides, and then she described the value of the product and how well it solved the problem for her and all that kind of stuff, and then she showed how the product works. So after she kind of talked about all this kind of stuff right here about how she decided to partner up with us and us solve the problem, and then she flipped her camera to actually show the product, and then yeah, and then she basically showed the product, with the back camera view, showed how it worked, and all that kind of stuff, and then she took a selfie video of her like applying the product, more to look like content, just more engaging stuff, like and all that, and I'm just not trying to give away the product, so I'm just kind of keeping it more general. But this stuff is obviously like you can obviously critique it to whatever product that you think is good to do it with, but I'm just giving more of like pretty much what she did, just without giving away the product. So she kept talking about how good it was, but she also mentioned the shortcomings, which is actually when it comes to doing product promo, I don't try to have the influencer, just like ride it and just like, say, oh, it's so good and just like saying nothing but good things. Like I have her be honest about it and talk about the shortcomings of the product. So she shows people that she's actually recommending it, and she's just not, talking like a load of BS pretty much. And it's also good for pre-framing customers who actually do buy, so they're not either complaining or they're not like waiting for like this mythical item that's not what it is, that she says it is. So people are pre-framed better. I've seen actually helped out with less customers complaining with just being honest about the product, because people just want honesty and like actually being able to like genuinely recommend stuff, you know? It's kind of like referral marketing. I sold solar one time. It was like the first thing that I did when it comes to sales, and I actually got some customers through people seeing it on their roof, and they just genuinely recommend it. Like they're not trying to get anything out of it, and had people coming to me that way. Also through what I do with like e-commerce coaching, but I just kind of wanted to let you guys know on that like the genuine recommendation model is way better than just trying to shove stuff down people's throat. Like if the product actually has value in the market, either whether if it like solves a problem when it comes to women, or it's like something that say costs a lot, and then we come with like a cheaper price, and it's valuable, whatever. Just being able to genuinely recommend something is like really powerful, and just talking about the shortcomings of a product. So yeah, I had her show the product page. She basically, after she was done showing how the product worked off the selfie, she flipped back the camera, and then she showed the product page, showed out the images, and the different style of variants that they could get, and then told her to use her code to get 10% off. And then the last snap was more of a direct call to action, where she told them to swipe up, and that it will solve this problem, and it's just so good. I genuinely recommend it. Just swipe up and use my code for 10% off. Now, I'm just gonna be going in depth on how it kind of worked. She got anywhere. Her story views vary, but they go from anywhere from like 250,000 views to roughly like 500,000 views. But I say more recently, probably like 250K views. I bet. And yeah, I mean, these are pretty much the numbers. So you can obviously see when she first posted the shout out. Um, and pretty much, yeah, I mean, it was something where, and I just want to let you guys know this, like, it was something where, like, I just made the product page and just, like, made everything, like, made it look good. And I just took action, like, I paid her, and I just kind of just made it happen. And you guys can obviously see, like, it's not even that high of a conversion rate. It's only 1.75, 8,700 visitors. But at the same time, this is very replicatable when it comes to being able to scale this on other influencers. So, just moving on with it. The lessons that I learned from this shout out. This is actually really good. I feel like you guys find this really valuable. So, the lessons I really learned from doing this, and like I've done, previous numbers like this and all that, but I don't know what it was, but like I just like after I had so many payment processors, I honestly became kind of like demotivated in a way. And I started wasting my time on a bunch of like small who weren't bringing in like these kind of results, and I was just wasting a lot of time. Like, dude, I've wasted more money on small influencers than I have lost spending like 1K plus on a shout out, because when you go to the girls, obviously I have clients and all that who do good with like the smaller influencers, but for me, like I'm trying to go for big and consistent numbers, like something that's replicatable, but something that's also bigger. And I'd rather run with like 10 people than need to run with like 50 or 100 people, That's like one big thing I learned. Just kind of like reignited that, that sense, that fire in me. Just like stop wasting time on small people and just focus on people who actually have value and are willing to charge, less for it, but still get more out of it, if that makes sense. Moving on to the product, pretty much, products are only saturated where they're saturated. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like a product could be really saturated in the United States. Say if it's saturated with Facebook ads and all that, and there's like tens of millions of views on videos. But say if it's really only scaled in the US, and that means you can go to other countries, and if you bring it in a new light, say with personal brand influencer marketing, where you have people genuinely recommending products and also tying it in with a promotion, that's the new strategy. Like I just call it like bringing products in new light. It's kind of my whole thing. That's pretty much my whole concept on when it comes to product research. Like the product research for this shit is so simple. Like literally just going on AliExpress, going on like just open up certain categories, whatever, and just looking at the highest ordered products, because those products are probably really high ordered, probably in the top tier one country like the United States. But what about all the other people who haven't seen those ads yet? Or they might have seen them, but they didn't want to buy it because they didn't know if it was good. But if they see someone who is promoting it, they may think it's good. So just something to think about. Question is for all these people, now how can you do the same thing? And this is for the beginners. I'm going to move into people who already have winners, but I'm going to talk about the beginners. So this is the main thing. If you don't have money to run on the bigger influencers, you got to make more money. Like I'm not trying to like demotivate you and like kill your dreams, but go make more money in whatever you have to do. Get a sales job, get a normal job, whatever you have to do to get cash flow. You have to be willing to lose $1,000 if you spend $1,000. You have to be completely okay with that. And if you're not, then your only problem is you need to get your money up. And a lot of people say, oh, you can start dropshipping with $50. Like, bull fucking shit, dude. Like, you're not starting this with $50. You're not starting this with $500. You're starting this with like minimum 3 grand. And you have to be willing to lose you have to be willing to lose that. And obviously that's not the goal. The goal is obviously to be profitable, but I'm just being straight up about the situation. Like, if you're not willing to do that, like, this video is really not for you, and my content really isn't for you. What my so that yeah, that's that. Like I said, like, the product research for this shit is like so fucking simple. Sorry if I'm swearing, but I'm just in my zone right now, so I don't really care. So um pretty much I look at like what's worked with meme pages mainly, like what's been really successful with them, what the products have been ran on them a lot. Also looking at Facebook ads that have like 5 million plus views. Um, Dude, even the products that like the e-commerce like gurus post on YouTube that like, oh, test this product, make 100 grand. I've watched those videos and I've honestly found a couple of my winners in those videos. It's just the way that I marketed it was different. So there's actually some heat in there. I'm just being honest. Yeah, and then basically, say if you find the product and then you make a list of and you look for influencers who are getting 80K to 100K likes consistently, and obviously make a list of the girls and guys who are doing that. I do mostly girls though. Depends on the product. Like, if the product is obviously good for guys as well, then that could be an avenue you go into as well. Yeah, so that's just kind of that. And then obviously you want to get the analytics showing like the male and female following, like the followers' ages, followers' countries, and male versus female, and then DM me on Instagram, with that info, and I'll tell you if it's worth doing or not. Because if you're actually serious about spending this kind of money, like, it's way smarter to have someone take a look at it who's already profitable spending this amount than going out testing it yourself. Like, I'm not even pitching anything right now. Like I genuinely help people who are actually taking action and tell them whether if they should do it or not. Now, when it comes to finding the influencers, I can make a video on that if you guys really want me to. Put it in the comments and tell me if you guys want me to do that, or drop a like, whichever one. You should do both. When it comes to finding the influencers, there's a lot of different ways. I can make a video on it, but the main thing is, like, if you find a girl, say, who gets like 500, 600K likes, like a really like A-list influencer, like someone who already a lot of people know. If you look through their suggested, you could probably find smaller pages. If you go to Fashion Nova, um, Instagram, you can also look at the people they tag, and they post a lot of not really that good influencers, but they might be good. I'm just kind of, I would have to go really in depth because that's like a whole other topic, but I just want to kind of put some value in there for the people who are wondering, because obviously I told you guys to make a list, and some people may not know how to find influencers. So now this is for the people if you already have a winning product with influencers or Facebook ads and you want to scale. You have to ask yourself these questions. Is it mainly men or women who buy your product? What's your conversion rate? What's your sale price and your average order value? What country? I didn't add this in, but what country are you selling most in? Because if you're selling most in, say, the US, there actually might be some good US influencers who are good, depending on the age ranges. I just like Europe because the CPM is way cheaper. That's my thought on that. And then you also have to ask yourself, say this is just for influencers, but like, how much are you spending and how much are you doing in sales, and what do you get back in profit? And those are really good numbers to know. Say if you're doing meme pages, if you're spending like $300 on a meme page and say maybe getting back a few hundred, you have to ask yourself, is it profitable to move to other influencers? Which probably is. If you're making profit with meme pages, you would obviously make profit with a personal brand, depending on what the product is. And like these numbers, like your numbers that you look at now with your conversion rate, your sale price, and your average order value, it's kind of relative to what it could be like when you run on bigger influencers. And yeah, and then pretty much like based on like what the gender is of your product, start finding bigger influencers who have majority of those people. So like if your majority of people who buy your product are girls, even without getting the analytics, you can pretty much tell, like, unless the girl posts like thought photos on Instagram of like showing her ass, like, obviously, if she's pretty content based and just posting like more girly stuff, that's just kind of one way to know, just without like wasting your time and just asking for their analytics up front. But you pretty much, it's just common sense. Like, you just find influencers who have audiences that could match your product. So if it's more general, you could obviously do men and women. I just focus on women mainly because I just find better success with them, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, dude, just listen. Like, if you already have a winner with influence, like if you're already spending like on meme pages or personal brands and you're making money, then DM me on Instagram, and just explain to me like what your situation is. Like how much are you spending? How much are you doing in sales? What's the profit? Um, if I feel like I can help you, then let's do it. Then it's just like there's just so much money to be made with my strategy it's just completely untapped. And if you already have a winner and if you really want to scale it, then that's pretty much like all I do is just like specialize in that. Like the first time I had success with influencers was with YouTube compilation pages. My client at the time, who I was running the product for, he was like, "Yeah, I spent like $200 and did like a grand on this page." And I asked him like, "Why aren't you doing it more?" And he's like, "Oh, because I'm just lazy." That's pretty much what he said. And I took, there's like 10 main pages in that niche who were getting really good views at the time. And I scaled on all of them pretty much consistently for like 5, 6 months straight. And we did over 330 grand. And that was just based off of doing like seeing $1,000 off of the one shadow, like how much potential is actually there. Just keep that in mind. And yeah, I mean, just to kind of like end it off, like take action. If you don't have a lot of money, get your money up. Don't really worry about this stuff right now. Like just like work smart and book it influencers. Kind of want to leave it off too. Like the more that I work on influencers, like the more action that I take with like finding a bunch of pages, trying to DM them all. Like I just caught myself getting less results than just like doing shit. Common sense. Go find a winning product that's proven to work. Moving it to a influencer who has really good engagement, also by a committed audience, which can be found in multiple ways. Like if she posts a lot of content on the regular, showing that she does have one, or she consistently shows making really good engagement, say for like the past year, which you could see just scrolling through her page. But honestly, like this product, like I knew worked, and I reached out to the agency to book the shout out. I booked the shout out, and yeah, I mean that was that. And then I just ran it, and honestly, like I was thinking that before. I'm like, damn, I really hope this works because before I was having really bad experience with smaller influencers. And actually, to give you an example of what I mean, so now I'm actually going to show you guys the results of a girl who I ran with that was not good at all. I paid like too much for her. I actually paid like over $500 on this one girl who I thought was good, but she has like a really young audience, and just the product itself probably wasn't good either. But you guys can see the difference between just taking something, and this product wasn't proven either. Like I was trying to put in a lot of work and try to find like this product, that was amazing that I thought could do good, rather than looking at something that could do good. And then once I took something that I knew could do good and ran it on a better influencer, you guys can see the difference. So that's just my advice. I hope you guys found value in this. If you guys have any questions, be sure to shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll link it below. And yeah, hope you guys have a great night. Keep killing it. See ya.